What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with some Destiny 2 news. With this week being potentially a pretty interesting one as we're finally going to get further details and reveals for Beyond Light. So we'll round up what's worth knowing about the events this week, new details coming for Stasis, and more. That's going to be pretty cool, but otherwise, Bungie give us lots of clarification about the Memorial Kiosk coming in November, reprise exotics and new ways to earn them. It looks like there won't be a kind of straight purchase option for exotics, which is interesting. And then they also touch briefly on Currencies, content coming back in Year 4, and a few other things. And with it being the Wednesday news video, we'll also round up the story progress in the interference mission with some hints to what's coming next. So, as always guys, if you do enjoy this one, a rating below really helps me out, but also be sure to get subscribed and turn on notifications if you're new to the channel, as we'll have a lot of Destiny stuff to cover shortly. But otherwise, let's get into it. First up this week, despite the fact that we're heading into a bit of a quieter time as we wait for Beyond Light, we are at least going to get a little bit of news for the new expansion. So the big one this week will be a reveal during Gamescom opening night live. So Jeff Keighley said, Guardians, get ready for Thursday. Destiny the game presents an exclusive look at Destiny 2 Beyond Light, and that'll be taking place at 8 PM CEST, which is 2 PM Eastern Time and 11 AM Pacific. And we should mention that the Destiny section itself is going to happen within the window of that event, so the event's going to run for around 2 hours, and we'll simply have to tune in to see exactly when the Destiny stuff will drop. But Bungie did at least add that it'll be worth tuning in for a deeper look at Stasis. And so it would appear that Stasis is going to be the primary focus of what they reveal on Thursday. And that's definitely cool because we've seen gameplay of various abilities. We kind of have an idea of how some of it will look and maybe play to an extent, but we don't know anything about the depth of the element, how that's going to affect gear in the game, or even enemies. And then most importantly, that customization element that we'll have for the new subclasses themselves. Especially considering we haven't seen these kinds of changes inside of Destiny 2, unlike in the Taken King where we had brand new subclasses. And so I think the hope in the community is that this will be a pretty significant change to gameplay. And Gamescom in general tends to be a better platform for these kind of info reveals for Bungie, partially because it's much closer to the actual reveal date of the product versus something like E3, right? So I will be sure to keep you posted what we get here on Thursday. So get subscribed to the channel for all that new info, and otherwise, let me know what you guys are most excited to see. Now though, let's move on and discuss the means to an end quest for the week, or more specifically, the interference mission and the dialogue within. So the quest has taken its usual form, and ultimately, the dialogue from Eris in the interference mission, this time, delivers a warning from Savathun of a predator in disguise trying to get close to us. So quick spoiler alert, but this is the dialogue for the mission this week.
This is a biological term like camouflage, but this wording pertains to stalking predators. Specifically a carnivore disguising itself to get close to its prey. The darkness could mean this as a warning. Or it could simply mean to sow dissension among us.
So, as Eris said, is Savathun kind of warning us of a genuine threat, or trying to cause dissension, which would only weaken our position? If we look at the camouflage lore page, it refers to someone that we should distrust in the Vanguard. And when we think about the vendors we have in the tower, the Drifter is one nearby character who could be referenced. But otherwise, does it refer to Zavala, Ikora, or one of her other associates? Whether it's true or not, Savathun is definitely trying to make us believe that we should distrust the Vanguard. And again, we're seeing that attempted influence, so pretty curious stuff, and I'd love to get thoughts from you guys down in the comment section. I'm thinking she might be tricking us, but who knows? Be sure to give us your thoughts down below. It would, however, appear that in the next couple of weeks of the interference mission itself, we could get some of the hidden content that was previewed earlier on in the season. And so alongside evacuation potentially happening in a couple of weeks, things could be about to get a little bit more interesting. Quick update for something in the game this week though. Bungie Help said due to an exploit, we've disabled the coin flip exotic emote until the issue can be resolved, and players will need to replace the emote if it's currently equipped in the emote wheel. So some folks have commented about this on the channel. There were various glitches players were using to complete Nightfall ordeals and things like that, and so the emote has been disabled, and so if it's actually slotted in at the time, I believe it will just stop working. So if that's something you've experienced, at least we know why, and I'm sure Bungie will give us updates soon. Back onto Beyond Light stuff for a moment though. Last week in the TWAB, we got a number of details about the Destiny content vault and items that'll be taken out of the game. Of course, they did list the redacted raid for Beyond Light, and some of us pointed out that that's included in the list of available raids on November 10th, which is the launch day for the expansion, but Cosmo clarified the column header is slightly incorrect, as the new raid won't go live on day 1, and we'll share a real date closer to launch as we usually do, so not surprising. But worth clarifying at least that we're not going to be seeing a day 1 expansion raid. All we know for now about the raid is the hint that we'll specifically be raiding the Deepstone Crypt on Europa. And according to the page, below the frozen tundra of Europa, the Deepstone Crypt has lain dormant for decades. And so naturally it is going to be a pretty exciting experience to jump into that new raid, but also the location in general. Last week, Bungie announced a new feature for Beyond Light, which they're calling the Memorial Kiosk. And this is going to be a pretty important place for claiming rewards associated with vaulted content, so I think that's an idea that players are pretty intrigued with. However, Bungie hadn't clarified what will happen with Anarchy or the Taraba. Primarily they'd spoken about quest exotics, but Cosmos said that Anarchy and Taraba will both be available from the new Memorial Kiosk. And that's an interesting one. Of course, a lot of players are grinding for those weapons right now, especially without the weekly lockouts and loot and stuff like that. But come November, when that Memorial Kiosk is a thing, there will be a different way to acquire both of those exotics outside of the raid, which I'm pretty sure, apart from Bungie reprising stuff from maybe in D1 or something like that, it isn't really something that Bungie have done inside of D2 at least. Now, players did say it would be incredibly disappointing if you could go ahead and purchase Anarchy with an exotic cipher without having to put all of that effort in. But Cosmos said, "We never said this, and we'll share more info on the kiosk in future." And this does tell us kind of a lot because it suggests that the kiosk will have objectives of some kind in certain instances. And that is going to include Anarchy and Taraba. We're not going to be able to play Scourge or Crown to get them in Year 4, but maybe Bungie will have a setup where we could complete a new raid or a series of objectives before it can be purchased. Maybe that's too grand of an idea, but importantly, whenever Bungie have spoken about the kiosk, they have used the term earn in relation to loot as opposed to purchase. And so it is looking like it's going to be a somewhat questified experience, and while we do need more details, certainly give us your thoughts below. Also, as Bungie stated, many catalysts will be affected by vaulting, and some of them, like the Whisper or the Outbreak catalyst, will no longer be earnable once their quest missions are vaulted. However, Cosmo reassured players that currently they're targeting having the catalysts for both of those weapons available to earn again by Season 13 or 14. And it seems possible that any others which can't be earned at the start of Beyond Light could actually be updated in those seasons as well. And so alongside additions like the Cosmodrome being expanded, new strikes, reprised raids, it looks like Bungie are already setting themselves up for quite a few system updates, quality of life changes throughout the course of Year 4, based on what they're saying. More important questions about items are rolling in though, not least currencies, as we've discussed here. So, for instance, with planetary materials, Cosmos said we've definitely got more questions to answer about this, but be sure to hang on to those currencies for now. So I think it's likely on that basis that there'll be some kind of trading occur in a way that we can at least get a few other items by turning those currencies in. And so totally bear that in mind, but they also confirm that some PvP modes being removed will indeed return in Year 4, so something they missed from the TWAB, but Momentum Control and Scorched will return from the Destiny Content Vault at some time during Year 4. And so especially for things like PvP maps where they're kind of rotating things around, actually, some of the more minor bits of vaulted content are already looking at being taken back out of the vault later on in Year 4, just a few months down the road. They also clarified about private matches, and any maps or modes being placed in the content vault will also be removed from private matches in PvP, so just worth bearing that one in mind. However, if you want a quick list and an even better list than what we got in this week at Bungie, then there is a full content vault breakdown of everything going out of the game in November on Bungie's website, which I will link down below. And of course, despite other reveals inbound this week, with continued questions about Transmog, Cosmo has once again said that we're going to have no new info on Transmog for a while, as it's a ways out, but they will be sure to share more when they can. And so just a few bits to clarify based on what Bungie had spoken about last week. There were a ton of questions. It's good to get extra info about some of those raid exotics. Pretty interesting that they're going to be earnable outside of the raids at some point in the future. And again, there will be mixed opinions about that, so give us any thoughts that you do have in the comments section. A quick mention here, but for any of you guys who know about Loot Crate, they are kicking off another Destiny crate right here, and this is one that's going to drop every 3 months. You can essentially order it, and as they say, unbox a surprise crate of exclusive gear and officially licensed collectibles. Pretty cool stuff, so I'll link that page down below just in case any of you are collectors who like to get your hands on Destiny stuff. But otherwise for today, be sure to give us any of your thoughts about what we've touched on in the comment section. I'll keep you posted this week with the extra details and reveals that we get for Beyond Light, and specifically the new info about Stasis, so get subscribed here on the channel and turn on notifications so I can keep you up to date. But otherwise, I very much appreciate you tuning in, guys. If you haven't enjoyed the video, feel free to drop us a rating down below. But otherwise, whatever you get up to, I hope you have an awesome day.